How many of your companies have you had to do replans on?
Listen, I think in this market, if there's a company that's not doing a replan, they're probably negligent. Like, I mean, minimally. So normally in downturns, you move to scenario planning. And so the recommendation I'd give any founder is if you see this much of a dramatic shift in the macro, you should sit down and you should create a median, bear, and bull case plan. And you should at least do the exercise. You don't have to enact it, but you should at least do the exercise.
Can I just dive in? What does a median, a bear, and a bull look like in terms of how you adjust dependent on each? I'm learning
Right.
from
So no. This, it's just funny. It's been a long time since. So I cut my teeth in 2000. I started my company in 2007. Like, a year in, 2008 happened, and I was like, oh shit, fucking nuclear winter, end of the world. I literally paid for like salary out of my bank account. Like, I couldn't raise money. Like, it was horrible. I had the same team of 10 people for 3 years. Like, I just thought we were just, anyway. So like I deeply appreciate and I empathize with what founders are going through on this. But I also think a lot of this skill set has been lost because it's been a long time since we've seen a reset this large. So what I'm saying is the following is, okay, so you created a plan probably in Q4 of 2021, assuming some level of growth, right? Now, what I think companies should have done in Q2 is being like, oh shit, the world has changed. And, we may not be able to raise for, let's say 3 years, and, our top line might go down by 20%, and so now what do we do? And so what I would do is do a bear case of like, what do you think the maximum impact to the top line is going to be? And then as a result, revenue. A median case, which is probably, normally you do kind of look at public companies or other cohorts to see how they're being impacted, and you do that for a median case, and then you do a bull case, which is like, let's assume, like nothing changes. Do we do the same thing, or is stuff like, are we going to be like recession accretive so that our business accelerates for whatever reason, and then you can do a bull plan? But at least you have to go to scenario planning, so you have done the exact work. So like if it turns out that like you totally whiff a quarter, like you do a 50% quarter, 40% quarter, you have everything planned out exactly how you'll respond to that. That's what I mean.
I totally get you. In terms of the response plan, I have a lot of founders say to me, layoffs, I hear that I need to do them, and I'm told, no, do them hard and do them once. But I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the right amount is. How do you advise founders on like layoff strategies? And you've been through it in 2007, 2008, I'm sure. Like, how do you advise them on this challenge now?
So I tend to be very top down on these sorts of things. The goal is to keep the company solvent and successful, protect common and as many of the employees as possible. And so I think the right approach is to create an operating plan given the current economic environment, and ask the question is like, what is the right company in order to do that, given whatever risk profile that you're comfortable with as a board. And like, your boards are very different. Some boards are like, hey, listen, to hell with it, man, this is a time to build. Like, let's go ahead and accelerate into it. Like, I 100% work with companies that are like, this is amazing, fuck it, man, we're going to win. Like, it's like, hire, pull out the machetes, like, we're going to war type thing, right? So it's the level of response is all over, but like, you have to force discussion in the board. The board has to be aligned. I do think you have to do a top-down replanning of what is the right posture for the company, and then everything falls out of that. And it may or may not be layoffs. It could be all sorts of stuff, right? I mean, you could decide to like, reduce cloud contracts or whatever. But like, again, like the top-down plan is everything. I do definitely sit on boards, or I know board members where like they have these knee-jerk reactions of, we have to cut by 40%. And you're like, why? So it's kind of funny. It's very funny if like an investor board member like tells a company, well, we have to cut by 40%. And then you're like, okay, well, why? It's not like they've like put together an operating plan, right? There's just like this kind of like number. And so I think everything needs to flow from an actual plan. So it's like at the same time, you're asking a founder to create an operating plan as well as like asking for a cut. It makes absolutely no sense. Like, come up with a plan, then figure out what's the right thing to do.
I want growth and I want cuts, please.